So, I'm putting some books in the bin today, but I'll explain why. I will be talking about racism, imperialism, and jingoism in children's fiction and illustrations, so if that's uncomfortable for you, please feel free to skip past this video. Hi. Well, I usually come and use my videos to talk about books that I love. Today, I'm going to show you and talk a little bit about some books that I want off my shelf and that I don't feel I can donate. I don't feel that they're appropriate for other people to read, and yet I think a lot of people have sort of this rosy memory of Dr. Dolittle. The Dr. Dolittle books were a series written by Hugh Lofting during the 20s, 30s and 40s in Britain. He considered them silly stories, but was always surprised that they were marketed towards children. I won this little set of books in a tombola years ago. They've sat on my shelf because I don't like to throw away books, but these are not books that I feel I could share with any child. So I thought I would talk a little bit about why Dr. Dolittle is so problematic. Now, I read the story of Dr. Dolittle by Hugh Lofting when I was a child. In fact, it was already old when I first read it. First published in 1922, and I suppose I was reading it in maybe the 80s. Now, a little over 100 years old, this is something that has not stood the test of time. The books are, I guess, sort of middle grade level stories, and yeah, they're entertaining, but then there was these little bits that are just so racist. Right. And I remember even in what would have been the early 80s, reading and thinking, this is really racist. Now, the basic premise is that you've got Dr. Dolittle, who is always skint and has a house full of animals that he's able to have conversations with, and which suddenly brings my head to thinking, talk to the animals. That song's a reference to the 1967 film with Rex Harrison that was commonly played during school holidays. It was a film I loved as a child. The 1998 movie with Eddie Murphy, I admit I've never seen. Now, there's a new 2020 movie with Robert Downey Jr. with more CGI animation. Not seen that either. And when you hear sort of what I've got to say about the books, you'll probably understand why. Part of the premise of the first story is that John Dolittle, or Dr. Dolittle, is asked to go out to Africa to cure the monkeys who are ill. And he gets captured by by a man and is taken to see the king. Just read you the first description of the king. This is from chapter 6, Polynesia and the king. Polynesia is the parrot. When they had gone a little way through the thick forest, they came to a wide clear space, and they saw the king's palace, which was made of mud. This was where the king lived with his queen Ermintrude and their son Prince Bumpo. The prince was away fishing for salmon in the river, but the king and queen were sitting under an umbrella before the palace door, and Queen Ermintrude was asleep. Kind of stands out a bit. Now the king says that he doesn't trust white men because Many years ago, a white man came to these shores. I was very kind to him. But after he dug holes in the ground to get all the gold and killed all the elephants to get their ivory tusks, he went away secretly in his ship without saying as much as saying thank you. Never again shall a white man travel through the lands of Jolliginki. Now, these books are published with the original illustrations from Hugh Lofting, and that is The King and Queen, which is just such a it's stereotypical. It's a mocking, and I remember as a child thinking, this is really weird, looking for Polynesia the parrot. Not sure if I can actually read this out loud. I'm going to hold this up. The language used is not very nice. I mean, referring to people as these darkies, it's just and they trick the king and make him very angry, and the Doctor gets out of their jail. Then Dr. Dolittle makes friends with Bumpo, the prince. Oh, after he's vaccinated all the monkeys, of course. But this is the story that I remember from being a child. I remember reading this chapter because I was just like, because this story basically explains how they're going through the forest and they find the prince sitting crying because he wants to be white. He wants to be white because he wants to kiss. Oh, I've remembered it wrong. He wasn't crying, he was sleeping there. So they trick him. See if I can get the bit. And there, sure enough, was Prince Bumpo, the king's son, opening the garden gate. He carried a book of fairy tales under his arm. He came strolling down the gravel walk, humming a sad song, till he reached a stone seat right under the tree where the parrot and monkey were hiding. Then he lay down on the seat and began reading the fairy stories to himself. Chi-Chi and Polynesia, that's the monkey and parrot, watched him, keeping very quiet and still. After a while, the king's son laid the book down and sighed a weary sigh. "If only I were a white prince," he said, with a dreamy, faraway look in his eyes. Then the parrot, talking in a small, high voice like a little girl, said, "Bumpo, someone might turn thee into a white prince, perchance." The king's son started off the seat and looked all around. "What is this I hear?" he cried. "Methought the sweet music of a fairy's silver voice rang from yonder bower. Strange." "Worthy prince," said Polynesia, keeping very still so Bumpo couldn't see her, "thou sayest winged words of truth, for 'tis I, Tripsitinka, the queen of the fairies, that speak to thee. I am hiding in a rosebud." "Oh, tell me, fairy queen," cried Bumpo, clasping his hands in joy, "who is it that can turn me white?" Like, what? So the whole aim for the prince is that he wants to turn white, and then Doolittle gives him a potion to make him white. And the doctor says, "I feel sorry about Bumpo," said the doctor. "I'm afraid that medicine I used will never last. Most likely he'll be as black as ever when he wakes up in the morning. It's the one reason why I didn't like to leave the mirror with him. But then again, he might stay white. I've never used that mixture before. To tell the truth, I was surprised myself that it worked so well. But I had to do something, didn't I? I couldn't possibly scrub the king's kitchen for the rest of my life. It was such a dirty kitchen. I could see it from the prison window." "Well, well, poor Bumpo." "Oh, of course he will know we were just joking with him," said the parrot. "They had no business to lock us up," said Dab, wagging her tail angrily. "We never did them any harm. Serves them right if he does turn black again. I hope it's a dark black." Excuse me? Yeah. And even as I'm saying this, I know that I will be putting a trigger warning at the front of this. It's just astounding how much the attitude of the time is making fun of the people, and it's just awful. I mean, some of the later stories tend not to be quite as bad. Bumpo returns in this one, but again we've still got these horrendous caricatures. The premise of The Voyages of Dr. Dolittle, the second story, is that Chi-Chi the monkey has dressed up as a woman by stealing clothes from a black woman. It's just like, what? And so, and then they meet a tribe of Indians. It's just, I find it shocking that I borrowed these books from the library as a child and that it was considered acceptable, and that films have been made from these, understandably films that do not follow the plot at all, thankfully. And I just think it's astounding. Yeah, it's astounding how far things have come in 100 years. But these, in places they pose themselves as if Doolittle himself is a great man because he makes friends with Bumpo the prince. So, what do I do with these? These are going into the recycling. They are not going in the charity box because I don't think it's appropriate for any child to. I don't want to put these in the hands of any child. I mean, I'm not saying they should be banned, and but they have to be read in context, and they're just unnecessary. I don't know. But I do feel strange about throwing away 4 books that are mint condition, but there isn't. There is no benefit from them. So, this is my view of why these are going in the bin. I'm not advocating for banning the books, but for binning them, for just not pushing them forwards. I think if you want to hear more about book bans and the benefits and disadvantages of book bans, please check out Bookish Realm. She's got some brilliant videos. So now we've come to the end of my little video. So if you've enjoyed it, please like, and that makes me feel very good. Add comments, tell me what you think, and if there's other books that you feel the same about, they should be binned rather than banned. And subscribe, press the bell if you want to know next time I'm uploading. I look forward to hearing from you down in the comments. Bye!